Independence is killing you and your creativity. In this video, I'll reveal the secret behind the falsehood pushing you to be a well-rounded and self-reliant individual. How the very idea is holding you back as a creative. Why you should instead take the time to truly master a specific craft. And how, contrary to popular belief, AI may actually be part of the solution. As a musician, writer, YouTuber, and security analyst, I know firsthand what it's like to try and excel at many things. But trying to be good at everything can actually be detrimental to your most prized pursuits. In this video, I'm going to show you why specializing is crucial for your creative endeavors, the real benefits of focusing your time and energy on becoming exceptional in one area. We'll break this down into 3 steps. 1, the dangers of being a generalist. 2, how specialization unlocks your true potential. And 3, how to strike a balance when you're being pulled in multiple directions. Let's actually go back in time about 150 years. The 1880s were the peak of the Wild West, a time period that has been deeply romanticized by every American generation to follow. At that time, only about 40% of people lived in cities, meaning 60% were living on the frontier, the very edge of civilization itself. If we go back another 100 years, that figure shoots up to over 90%, living in a world where your nearest neighbor may be a day or more away. In a place like this, the self-reliant, the generalists, are the only ones that survive, let alone thrive. It's paramount that everyone can shoe a horse, prepare a meal, wash clothes, start a fire. There's no place for a jeweler, a horologist, a painter, especially if they don't have the plethora of other skills required to live that hard life. If someone got sick, or really when someone got sick, and when someone died, everyone else had to pick up the slack, which meant everyone else needed to know how. Ironically, our art, created by specialists, has romanticized this expression of self-worth through self-reliance in the decades and centuries since. Imagine this scene. A farmer turned cowboy turned sheriff swaggers out of the doors of a local saloon to meet the marauder, the bandit. The scene perfectly fits in our mind. It's a part of the cultural zeitgeist. There's no Western where the hero is a city slicker whose redeeming qualities include a penchant for landscape photography and haiku. Let's now fast forward to the present day. How have these roots curated the way that we live our lives and create our works? If you want something done right, do it yourself. The vestiges of a time long past are still there, and some more obvious than others. Today, more than 90% of Americans live in urban areas, yet this frontier mindset is still all around us. But what is the real issue with that? It comes down to duplication of effort. People doing the same thing that other people are already doing. How valuable can yet another mediocre cook or mediocre mechanic or mediocre videographer be? And this isn't to insult or dissuade people from having hobbies or disregard the intrinsic value that hobbies can bring. But if you, like me, have a desire for the use of your creative ability to be a means of supporting yourself, this is a very important distinction. All else being equal, people will always prefer the best. If not for the cost, convenience, and slight differences in taste, you would all have luxury vehicles, 5-star meals, cashmere sweaters, and Yeezys. Maybe not Yeezys. When we look at the value proposition that any individual skill set offers, there is a disproportionate amount of value placed on the level of mastery, not the type of skill. The sculptures from a mediocre sculptor are not even in the same category as a Raphael or Michelangelo. Excellence in and of itself is a category. Bach, Beethoven, Da Vinci, despite their vastly different mediums, are a closer approximation to the work of Raphael than if I attempted to bludgeon a block of marble into anything. Now that we know that specializing and mastery is where the real ROI, return on investment, comes from, how can you exploit this newfound truth? The first thing is to accept. Accept that you cannot be excellent at everything, and if you try, you'll simply become poorly skilled at a multitude of skills that other people took more seriously than yourself. But how do you take it seriously? How do you become great at something? We all know that consistency in some way is a key piece to that puzzle, but consistently practicing poorly still won't make you much better. Living and breathing the domain in which you want to flourish is the only shortcut here. Seek out mentors, read the most influential books, watch the most profound videos, and, most importantly, take those lessons and implement them into your practice. Have you consumed those resources? Have you consumed them again? To be better than 90, 95, 99% of people, you have to do what 99% of people won't do, what they couldn't commit to doing. John Mayer doesn't practice for 2 hours a week. Saquon Barkley doesn't hit the gym just when he's in the mood, and Tarantino doesn't wait for someone to remind him to finish a screenplay. The direct consequence of you doing what 99% of people won't do makes you the 99th percentile at what you do. There are, of course, other consequences of specializing, one of which is that you're a glass cannon of sorts with respect to your ability to accomplish things outside of your chosen domain. But as I alluded to earlier, in the globalized world that we live in, that really isn't so bad. Let's say, for example, that you become an exceptional painter. All of the things that go along with profiting off of your art can and should be outsourced to other people who, in their own right, excelled in disciplines that you forsook. Exceptional art dealer, exceptional accountant, exceptional estate manager, exceptional marketer. Specialization is the hallmark of community and civilization. You can be exceptional in your area and rely on others to be exceptional in theirs, and you'll all come out better for it. To make this point as stark as possible, imagine 10 specialists working in 10 different domains together. They are going to be orders of magnitude more prolific, and successful than if 10 generalists are working together. In fact, one of the most important takeaways from this video should be that community is one of the most valuable parts of your growth as a creator in whatever domain. We often hear this, but it's true. The people you know, your network, is tied to your value. In fact, networking in its own right is a domain in which some people become the expert. Those people that you know that are also 99th percentile individuals, and the fact that you know them means you can connect them with other people, which has its own inherent value. Now, let's talk a little bit about AI. With the advent and proliferation of AI, the value of mediocrity has plummeted. AI is so capable across so many areas that work under a certain threshold of quality has essentially become worthless. It can be outsourced to AI at little to no cost. Every year, every month, every week, every day, the quality threshold gets higher and higher. Because of this, becoming a master is actually never been more valuable. Whether we like it or not, the product of a master of their craft now has infinitely more value compared to the product of a mediocre skill set that can now be replicated for cheap at the click of a button. But there's a secondary effect of this. In concert with the inflating value of expertise, all that time that was once spent becoming just proficient enough at tasks that are not central to our core work has now been freed up. The time it took you to consolidate notes into an outline or transcribe a video is now available to do with as we please. Although it may sound contrary to the general theme of this video, it actually has potential to free up enough of our time to gain mastery in additional skills. Because in reality, we do need to be good at more than just one thing. We have to acknowledge that life is complicated. We have jobs and responsibilities and multiple passions. Sometimes we haven't even decided what we want to be excellent at, or we truly feel that despite the increased difficulty, we could maybe pick a handful of things to truly excel at without diluting our time and proficiency too much. In the real world, things are never so cut and dry. And that's okay. You definitely shouldn't harbor any guilt for being passionate about multiple things. However, you do need to make realistic decisions regarding what will ultimately be worth the time and energy investment. For myself, the idea of making films, mastering multiple instruments, and becoming a professional athlete all had captivated my attention at one point or another. But the payoff, intrinsically and extrinsically, eventually led me to the decision to quit and focus elsewhere. If you have multiple interests, try to align them as closely as possible. Video editing and marketing, sound design and animation. Find a way to connect those dots. Using myself as an example, I was first a musician, then a writer, now a YouTube creator. These skills on the surface seem disparate, but many of the things I've learned regarding storytelling, scripting, promises, plot development, audience and engagement are applicable to all of my chosen domains. The outlier here, of course, is cybersecurity, but that pays the bills. And as such, that time is already spoken for. So why not develop an expertise anyway? Fortunately, even that has yielded relevant benefits when handling data analytics on YouTube, Spotify, and advertising. On this point, I want to add one caveat and warning. While interests can change over time, it's vital to make sure that your day job, your plan B, that is a backup if your creative endeavors don't come to fruition, does not begin to eat away at your true passions simply by virtue of it being stable or you getting positive reinforcement via praise or money. As we wrap up, remember the real value in your work comes from being exceptional at something. It's not about doing everything yourself or spreading yourself too thin. It's about mastering something and building a community of people who are masters in their own complementary areas. Whether you're a musician, artist, writer, embracing specialization is what unlocks your true potential. So don't be afraid to focus your time and energy. Life may be complicated, and yes, we all have multiple passions, but it's the commitment to specialize, to pour our hearts, our souls into one or a few things that will truly elevate your career and your creativity. That the world is evolving. AI and automation will only raise the value of true mastery. So what do you think? Are you ready to double down on your craft and specialize? Or am I totally wrong? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button if you found value in this video. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and keep creating. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the next one. It's the value of the product of a master of the craft can provide.